We are back at the table. Babies are sleeping soundly again for hopefully the next hour or so, although I know it's probably going to be closer to like half hour, 15 minutes. I'm not going to jinx it. We're going to say that the babies are going to sleep for the rest of the night. I'm going to actually get a good hour of painting in. So where was I? Our intrepid dwarf thunderers from Barak Var, or yeah, Barak Var. So I actually use the I use the symbol for Zufbar, but I think I'm gonna go with Barak Var as being the hold that these guys are from. Here we go. So I don't think this would have fit. Maybe it might have, but we're just gonna say that this is just a symbol he's using, and he's repping Barak Var. Okay, sounds good enough to me. Now let's decorate his base here. I wonder. I was thinking these guys are going to be like fighting over land, trying to retake the Eastern Gate or wherever it is in Carrick Eight Peaks. And I was debating whether or not I should put some snow on their bases. I do want to make it like they're fighting outside in the mountains, so it's going to be quite like rocky with some grass and some wildlife. But I was thinking maybe I'll add some snow. I've got this snow diorama product here that I wanted to try out. I've never tried it before. So maybe that's what I'm going to do. It's funny because I see a lot of people who are painting miniatures for the old world. Why the Eastern Gate? Oh, I don't know. I think I was just reading up on the lore, and it doesn't matter. Like wherever they're going, I imagine in my head that they're ultimately, unsuccessful, or they get to a point before they're just not able to penetrate any further. I would like. I really like the idea of this combined arms, combined holds, force going in and trying to retake as much as they can of Carrick Eight Peaks. I think it's such a cool concept. They're all marching under their own banners for their own different holds, but sorry, I'm trying to get this glue coming out of here. Here we go. I'm streaming from the YouTube app, and I've historically been streaming from this app called Prism Live, which allows me to see and allows everybody to see the chat on the left side of the screen here. But with the YouTube app, I see the chat for like a couple seconds and then it disappears. So if I'm looking away, then I essentially miss whatever somebody types. So if you're trying to say something and you type something, I don't answer, it's likely because I'm looking around me for a paint or for something and I just don't see it. So just repeat whatever you said and I should address it. I don't want anyone to think that I'm ignoring them because that's like the last thing I want to do. Like the more interaction I get during these live streams, the more uh, engaged I can stay in it. I don't know if you guys know, there was a YouTuber called Luke APS. I forget what else he called himself, but he started a company called Geek Gaming Scenics, where they make this mixed base scatter And I think another company that does it is called Cover. I've used their products before, but Geek Gaming was the first company that I've used that I really like the mixture of their stuff. I think there's just enough of the different elements that I like, that I look for, especially this grim dark one that looks like just a bunch of volcanic ash and waste and rocks. I think it looks so good. The trouble is that they're based out of the UK and they don't always have the product when I look. So sometimes it seems like their entire store is shut down, and I don't know if it's because they have like a supply issues or whatever. But I love the product. I love using it. I want to use it on all of my old world armies. I think it just looks terrific. It looks like natural, you know. It looks like stuff that when you first got into the hobby, you would go out into your backyard and look for dirt and and grass and stuff, and because you didn't know any better, and you just throw it on the base of your model with some super glue or some Elmer's glue rather. That's what I feel this scatter looks like. Well, Beligar was successful in getting a foothold. Yeah, that's true. Isn't Beligar is like the most recent, right? Because they came out with the model for him. Was that recent or was that something that was always in the fluff? Because I saw that Beligar is also, man, I was doing so much reading up on the dwarves. There's so much great lore on the dwarves and their whole history. He is descended from the last king to have ruled Carrick Eight Peaks. Is that correct? And so he pushed far enough in to get this very substantial foothold. Yep. Guys, I always talk about this, but I want to mention it again in this live stream. These like little tubes of black acrylic paint are like worth their weight in gold, because this was only like $2.99 at Walmart, and you get so much. 120 milliliters, 4 US fluid ounces. There's so much paint in here, and I got this. I think back when I still lived in, yeah, I think I was still in California, but oh boy, it was a while back. So definitely get yourself a tube of black. The reason why I say black, because every other color of paint can be slightly off or different. The mixture, the consistency, the color, right? That's why when they changed from their old colors, the color age with like Deneb Stone and Talon Flesh, all the great stuff, they wanted to go in a new direction. They they didn't get the same. It was in the background, but sparsely. He didn't have a mini before. Oh, okay, okay. So he didn't have a mini. But yeah, a black color is always going to try to be black, right? There's only one way to do like a pure black color. So you can always make sure that this is going to be pretty darn close visually to Abaddon black. Oops. So that's why you could spend $8 on a little pot of Abaddon black that if you leave even slightly cracked open, it's going to dry out. Or you can spend $3 on a tube of acrylic paint from Walmart, and it's going to last you forever. I love that Beligar model too. Like I'm sad that in the old world that he's called something else, like just a dwarven lord or something. Like they took out all the named characters. All right, I'm pretty happy with that. This is the snow that I'm thinking about putting down. Has anyone ever used Vallejo Diorama FX ground texture snow Nia Vicamble? Like I was trying to find videos on it, but it's a whole like Vallejo's Diorama FX thing. Are you adding Beligar and the Iron Butter? I'm thinking that's like a stretch goal. That's gonna be like something that if I have time, if I really knock out all the rest of these miniatures, then I'm gonna see if I can add them, because ooh, look at that, some snow on the bases. because I just don't know how much I'm going to be able to get done. I've just been booked, commissioned to paint up the Blood Angels Death Company set. So when I get that going, the dwarves might have to take a back seat to that because as much fun as I love, as much fun as it is, and as much as I love painting the dwarves, I'm not making any money off of them. You know, I don't. They're not translating into funds in my bank account, so I might need to put them aside so I can work on actual commission work that's going to help put food on my table. All right, enough of that. Let's work on painting up some dwarves, and I'm going to share with you guys my recipe and my technique, my thought process when I paint an army like the dwarves. They're so different from the Age of Sigmar. I'm not going to call them slop, but the stuff that Age of Sigmar is producing right now, it's so detailed, and there's so much like when I think about the Bretonnian foot knights, the Knights of the Realm on foot, how much just stuff is on those models. They're so difficult to build, and they have so much like individual details on all of the models that they are so different from these. Like, look at this. This is the most detailed model in this unit. It's the leader, right? And he's got two hand weapons. But all of the models basically have the same structure, which is really good because it allows you to batch paint assembly line, which is what I'm going to do. And I'm going to show you my process and get from point A to point B fairly quickly. So what I like to do first is work from the inside out. And what I'm going to be doing is painting the silver chainmail because that's lower than these little vertical flaps. And then I'm going to also be painting any of the other silver. I'm just going to knock out all the silver at once. And we're going to start with the leader there and then work our way down the line. And we're just going to go, and I'm going to be peeking at the chat as much as I can. In fact, let me see. Chat viewing options. All right, I just activated, there we go, live chat. So hopefully I'll be able to see all the messages that pop up. And yeah, like I said, if you want to help out my studio and throw a donation, a super chat, a super sticker my way, I'm coming up with a list of monthly like donation milestones. So not just for this one live stream, but throughout the entire month, I'm going to make it go all the way up to like $500 so that if people chip in $1 or $2 or $3 every once in a while, it's just going to keep adding up. And each of those is going to work me towards like the next goal. So like the first goal, for example, is if I get $5 in donations from any super anything like across all of my videos, then I'm going to be painting with my weak hand for like 5 minutes, stuff like that, like fun little things like that. I'm going to be using the back of the brush and painting. It's going to look ridiculous, and I'm going to have to obviously go back in and fix it. But I think it'll be fun painting with a toothpick, painting with a Q-tip. There's going to be some just fun things that I'm going to be able to do. Stuff can be good too. Some races are just more busy. I think the Dawi should have more knot work and runes like in the art. Yeah, I know. In fact, that's why I think this was so good because there are all of these runes. In fact, also the runes of the gods and the goddess Valaya that I think look great that you could put onto like a gyrocopter body, right? And all of these look great on the cloaks, and you can take this knot work and cut this out and use that because that is, yeah, that's a transfer too. And you could put that onto the hem of a cloak on a character. Or what I'm going to do is, now that I just thought of it, I'm going to cut that out and put it onto, wow, I don't think there's much room on this guy. But I think on the, on my ranger, yeah, all of my rangers have the have the what's it called, the cloaks, right? So that not work, you could just put right on the bottom, look really good with that glittering gold shining off of the. I'm planning on painting them like a dark leathery brown so that I can get. I mean, like, look at this. This is such a old school Warhammer design that they're supposed to be wearing these cloaks that they can, like, they have draped over their bodies, right? Because they're rangers, and on this side it's like so thin. The fabric is so thin and just flows in the wind, and then on this side it's like this weird, like blob, blocky, chunky thing that it just needs to be like that because that's how the design was. They couldn't get it to like hang down close to the body, and it's so old school and it's so charming, and it's like one of the reasons why I love these older models. All right, here we go. I'm going to be working on this. Let me know what you're going to be working on. Send me a comment, and let's just knock out as much as we can. This is day 3, so let's answer the daily question of the day as well. And I'm interested to hear from all of you guys as well. What is your favorite science fiction or fantasy series or movie? I think a common answer would be obviously Lord of the Rings. Starship Troopers, that's doing the rounds now on Twitter for some reason. Aliens is a great one. It's a classic. They just released a trailer for Alien Earth, and that looks pretty interesting. Remember when they first announced it? I was like, how are they going to do a series about the xenomorphs on Earth when First Contact was in the Alien movie? But um, it'll be interesting. And Noah Hawley as the showrunner. I've always loved what he did with Fargo. It's been kind of hit or miss the later seasons, but the first couple seasons, especially season 2 of Fargo on FX, is like some of the greatest television that I remember seeing. I rank it right up there with like Breaking Bad and all 4 seasons of Game of Thrones, because Game of Thrones never had more than 4 seasons as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, so let me know in the chat. If you guys are typing away, I haven't been looking, I'm sorry. What is your favorite science fiction and fantasy series and why? Back in the day, I really liked Space Above and Beyond too. I think that was very close to like Starship Troopers. You have a group of people going through basic training, learning how to fight in a military in space, and I think like Firefly is also great. There's so much great choices to choose from for this question. I want to see if I can. This is like a leader, so I'm obviously taking a little bit more time with him, but I kind of want to see how fast I can knock out a base coat for one of these miniatures. Yeah, I wonder what might be more fun. Would you guys like to see me actually do one color at a time all the way down? Because that's the standard way that I batch paint is I take one model, I do one color, lead belcher, and go down the line. Or would you be more interested in seeing how fast I can whip together an entire base coat? Got my wet palette back there. In fact, let me zoom in a little bit so it doesn't get so blurry. We'll keep our little standard. But I'm really pleased that I whipped this guy together tonight. I'm pretty happy. All right, let's work on him all the way from front to finish. we'll do the leader and the drummer. We'll have a full command group all painted up in the Barak Var colors, and then from there we will move on to batch painting the rest of the unit. So you guys, if you're not a old world collector, if you don't have an army in Warhammer, the old world, if you never played Warhammer Fantasy before they blew it up and turned it into Age of Sigmar, this experience for me of painting an army that I collected when I was young, this experience is kind of like hanging out with 15-year-old WarbossTae that was getting into the hobby and or actually returning to the hobby. So maybe 20-year-old WarbossTae, 22-year-old WarbossTae, getting back into the hobby after taking a break and deciding that what I wanted to do, getting back into the hobby, was to actually paint and focus on painting and make that my intent with engaging in the hobby and the community. And at the time, like, the models were so cheap compared to what they are now. You know, a Dwarven, like a battalion, would cost you around $100, and there was such a great way to, because you still felt like you were making an investment, right? You still thought, oh, I'm spending $100 on an army. Like, I really gotta, I gotta paint them up. I gotta make them look good. You don't want to show up to the hobby store with gray, unpainted miniatures. And at the time, you're learning all these new techniques. I think most of us still didn't have access to like airbrushes, or I remember the first time I went shopping for like an airbrush compressor or an airbrush. Like, I went to like this auto shop. They didn't sell them at Walmart at the time. It's crazy. I went to like an auto shop and was like looking around at all of the different compressors for detail work, like auto detail. And I was like, what would I need to get for something that maybe not like stenciling onto a car, but let's say for painting miniatures. Yeah, it's a total nostalgia hit. Engaging in the hobby again like this, it's crazy, because when you think about all of the models that Games Workshop is pumping out now, the absolute rate at which they're firing off new designs and reveals, like seeing that Grand Cathay army was like, you've got an entire army already ready to go. You're not just drip feeding, oh, look, here's one model that the designers are working on. It's going to be really good once it's all developed. Anyways, yeah, like I said, I feel like I'm hanging out with young me again. It's real Back to the Future kind of stuff. Painting on some gloves. And another reason why I'm glad for that feeling is because now I feel like I'm so fast than I used to be. I used to obsess over every detail. Like when Marsha was saying that he likes to clean everything up and he's a perfectionist and he doesn't want to move on. If he's made a mistake, he's going to fix it. Like, I used to be just like that, and there's nothing wrong with that, Like, if you see a mistake, you want to fix it because it's going to be bugging you, then yeah, by all means, go ahead and do that. But it's funny how, like, you pick up habits, right? As you get older and you do more in the hobby, you pick up habits, and whereas before you used to be the guy that would be like, I can't move on until I fix this one thing. I gotta mix the ratio just right, or I gotta get all of the little over splatters covered up before I move on. I can't let any mistakes be showing when I move on to the next step. Yeah, I totally don't think like that anymore. Everyone need their fix regularly these days. No patience anymore. It's crazy. It really is like the amount of miniatures coming out. Like I feel like they're having releases and like reveals and oh my goodness, like new miniature reveals and drops like every day almost. And it makes you think like remember back in the late 90s and early 2000s when like you would not hear a thing about your army. And then one day in White Dwarf they like drop a like a little just a little tease that made you think, oh, my army might be getting updated, might be getting new miniatures. That was the curse of the Tau. It's like how Tau players feel with their Kroot and their Stingwings.